The declaration of interest to contest the 2023 presidential election by the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has kick-started in earnest politicking for the 2023 general election. Barely 24 hours after the former governor of Lagos State visited President Muhammadu Buhari to declare his intention to contest the presidential election, Governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, followed suit. The Ebonyi State governor also paid a courtesy call to the president to inform him of his intention to run. And just hours after Governor Umahi's declaration of interest, Chief Whip of the Senator, former governor of Abia State, Orji Uzor Kalu, in an interview with journalists, declared his intention to contest for the presidency. While for Bola Tinubu says it has been his lifelong ambition to become president, Dave Umahi says he was instructed by God to contest for the presidency. For Orji Uzor Kalu, he says he has all it takes to run for the position. All three aspirants belong to the same party, the All Progressives Congress, and might slug it out during the party's primaries to clinch the APC presidential ticket. Joining me to discuss this is a former presidential aspirant and also a political analyst, Daniel Akinlami. Good morning.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here.
Right. Let's begin first with the declaration by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Obviously, it has triggered so many things in the political space, but then reactions also have begun to come. We have seen divergent reactions from a lot of persons. Let's get yours.
Well, I think we are in the interesting time now, and it's not surprising to many of us. We've predicted the early activity for the 2023 elections. And also don't forget that this 2022 is practically the year of politicking. And coupled with the fact that President Buhari is about to finish his second term,
right,
so he's not eligible to contest again.
Right.
So it's a different scenario compared to 2019 and 2015. The interesting thing now is the fact that we're going to have as many people as possible coming out earlier than we've been witnessing in the past two elections. Look at 2015, for example. As at 2013, 2014, when APC came together through the merger, people could predict that President Buhari would probably pick the ticket. And it was obvious too that Goodluck Jonathan will carry the nomination for PDP. But as it is today, no one can predict where the pendulum will swing concerning 2023.
Is that tough?
And it's really tough. You can't write anybody off too. There are so many permutations going on within APC and PDP. If we even focus on the APC, look at someone like Asiwaju Bola Ahmed, that's been described over the time as the kingmaker coming into the race. And then you also have the vice president, who has been tipped by several groups.
But he hasn't come out.
Yes, he hasn't come out.
Yeah.
But you know, we're talking about politics here now. And these are practical things when we're talking about Nigeria political climate.
Right.
There's what's called body language.
Okay.
We don't need to wait till somebody openly come and declare before we know where the thing is going. And especially when you see a politician, either at the presidency level or a governor or a deputy governor, denying, saying, I'm really concerned about my mandate for now. I want to finish my mandate. I just want to face my work. Just know something is coming.
Really?
Yes,
that's
just know something is coming.
Right.
So we are not really moved by some of the deniers because it takes a lot for you to have 2-3 support groups out there canvassing for you, mobilizing for you, meeting former head of state. Oh, come on. So the master they are projecting probably is aware, but
perhaps
he's not ready. Yes, he's not ready to come out to say anything, but say, okay, you can give a trial, let's see how it goes. So we can also see The likes of Dave Umahi has been predicted when he jumped from PDP to APC.
No, he has formally come out to say that
exactly.
He is,
so Dave Umahi has already openly declared. We still have more people apart from Ojikalu. There are still more people that has been expected to come in.
We have
where the issue is,
yes,
where the issue is right now is quite difficult. With all the permutations around the APC convention, though some people thought perhaps some of these candidates would have waited for the convention to
before they start making
so
their
that
declarations.
they could be sure of their strategy. But I believe most of the people coming out now, they are master strategists. So that is why you can't write off anyone. Yeah, there are also insinuation within APC. There is a cabal that is also fighting against the interests of some candidates. Now, how powerful that cabal could be towards the convention and the party primary is also subject to time. But what we see right now is that all the people that have been tipped and those who have declared and those who are about to, we're going to see a kind of campaign and strategy being displayed that we have not seen before. But I believe at the end, the leaders of APC, especially the chairman of the caretaker committee, they need to make sure they provide equal opportunities for everyone. Field. Because if this thing is tilted towards a particular candidate or a favorite, it may end up bringing down APC.
But don't you think there's a possibility of them having a consensus candidate? Is that not possible?
What we're seeing right now is going to be quite difficult. Except the consensus is going to go in favor of the man that has the highest structure and the highest followership, and that is the biggest mobilizer. Because if the consensus is against the biggest mobilizer among the candidates, how will the consensus survive? And that is the question.
It's going to be a tough one.
It's going to be a tough one.
Right. Now, let's look at perhaps other intrigues that might come out to play. Because like we were saying behind the camera, that it seems every year we see the elections get tougher and tougher with the kinds of persons that come out to declare that they want to be take up certain political positions and all of it. What are the factors that you see that will determine and shape the 2023 elections that a lot of these politicians might play up in their campaigns?
Well, I think the number one factor that I'm seeing is the issue of allegiance and loyalty. Looking at APC, for instance, the way APC came together through the merger, there are some factors of agreement between some actors that play a big role in the 2015 election. So there are no issues of loyalty and allegiance. Rub your back and then you rub mine. And then when it's your turn, we give you 100%, you have your 8 years. And when it's our turn, you give us support. So that's going to go underground as an undercurrent within the political space and the decisions that will happen within APC. But beyond that, we have candidates who are very strong this time around. Like you said, it's looking more interesting that every 4 years, every election cycle, we've got to have a very tough election in our hand. Tough people, strong people, still around, even at their old age, still fighting for the presidential.
You have to bring that in.
Yes, exactly. So look at the array of people still coming out now. It's not in any way different from what we've seen in 1999 between Obasanjo and Falai. And AD to Falai and Bola Ige struggle for the ticket within AD then. It's not different. Perhaps the only time we could say the tempo was a bit low was 2007 when Obasanjo had strong influence in the emergence of Yar'Adua. And the opposition was not that strong to compete very well. But 2015, 2019, and what we are to see now is even looking like the master of it all.
Right.
Because there are many set to the general candidates in this election who are in their 70s. And perhaps some of them...
Does that matter?
Yes, some of them, this might even be their last chance to this. Considering the fact that whoever wins will probably fight for 8 years, 2 tenure. So some of them know that this probably will be their last chance. They are giving all they have to fight for it this time around, from APC to PDP. So but beyond that too, a lot is also at stake. The state of the economy, the hardship, the inflation. So people are going to look at, are we satisfied with APC's performance? Can even APC as a party roll out campaign easily and get the votes? Those are some of the issues that will come to play begin to build up.
All right, let's quickly move now to our other guest who is here with us now in the studio. Is a political analyst, Abiodun Shomi. Good morning, Happy New Year.
Good morning, Happy New Year.
Now, I'm certain you've been listening to the conversation with Daniel Akinlonmi, and you have some reactions to some of the things that he has said. He has talked about the fact that the intrigues this time around, because most of the people that seem to have come out to indicate their interests are more like political gladiators, and that the ring is going to be a tight contest. And he talked about the undercurrents, talking about scratch my back, I scratch your back, and all of that. But then let's get your perspective to what you see for 2023 elections with those who have come out to show their interest.
Well, I think it's quite very interesting the way the whole political game shaped out eventually. Don't forget we started from the southern governors squaring up against the northern governors, and the northern governors resisting it, saying, no, if you want to produce a southern candidate for presidency, then you have to do that through consultation and negotiations, not by issuing ultimatum. So along the line, we now have different interests, things playing out within the political party. You have the PDP trying to figure out what APC will do. Are they going to field a certain candidate, and what should be their own response? Are they going for a northern candidate or a southern candidate? So you have those permutations still going on. No one is still sure whether in APC it will end up being a certain candidate, but it is more likely than not that a certain candidate would emerge within the APC. Now, when you look at the gladiators, the political actors that have emerged from within the parties to indicate their interest in vying for the primaries, presidential slot within the political parties' primaries, and you concentrate particularly on APC. There have been a lot of speculations about who will come out, a governor in Southwest, a former governor in Southwest, the vice president. A lot of permutations and different support groups coming up and, agitating, trying to mobilize support for whoever is their candidate, with those candidates not declaring. Now, there's a kind of uncertainty around it all. Who should be the candidate, who should not be the candidate, should it be from Southeast, Southwest, South, or what? But what happened is, with Tinubu coming out and declaring his intention clearly, that has put paid to quite a lot of other interest of other contestants, particularly from Southwest. No doubt about it, he's probably the biggest politician from the Southwest, and is a great strategist mobilizer. And they know that it's difficult to take on him in the Southwest with wide mass popular base, not only in Lagos, but across the Southwest, also across the country. So that is very, very clear. His declaration actually of intention, changed the calculations for quite a lot of political analysts. He did. He's a very formidable candidate who you cannot easily push aside. Don't forget that he's also a candidate, branded not only by the party but by the president as the national leader of APC. So it won't be so easy to push a Tinubu away, when it gets to party primaries, and that is quite very obvious to so many people. Now, another argument which people have been pushing is around the issue of fairness, equity, and justice.
Right.
Okay, when you come across that, those who are advocating that the candidate for APC should come from another part of the southern region, you know, forget the fact that the governors actually set the parameter. All the southern governors, 17 of them met in Asaba, Delta State, and insisted that a southern candidate should emerge. They did not say that it should come from one zone.
Southwest.
No. So therefore, it's an open race for every Southerners within the APC.
Perhaps they felt that it would just naturally come to them, because they felt there was a gentleman's agreement that, you know, it should be their turn at this point.
Yeah, but unfortunately, power is never served a la carte. You have to grab power. You're talking about scramble for power. You know, if you want power, you position yourself in a way that you're able to grab the power. Nobody hands over power to anybody. It's just like planning a coup and you hand over power to someone else who is not involved. It's not almost impossible. So when you look at the political situation within the country, one candidate who I think, in my view, is better placed, is not the only one, but is better placed, you know, in terms of working on the issue of national cohesion, addressing many of the problems which we face in the country today, is Tinubu. I am very sure that things will get tougher this year, and then it will get tougher because there is a likelihood that subsidy will be removed, and then you face a situation where you are likely going to have some measure of discontent, either through labor strikes or
which they are already planning.
And then the basic problem is government does not have the revenue, you know, to fund many activities. But when you look at Tinubu, it's antecedent in Lagos, what he has done, you know, to move Lagos from a 6 billion economy, you know, to a 35 billion economy. When he was faced with the challenge of Lagos state allocation being seized, you know, for local government, then you begin to ask yourself that, look, what we actually need now is a leader that can address the economic challenges of the country, a leader that can unite the country, because the country is fractured. We cannot deny that. The cohesion is threatened, and therefore, for me, I will place my bet that he is better placed than many other people. There are other very competent people also. Yeah, but in terms of his experience, in terms of his antecedent, in terms of the role he has played, even evolving democracy in Nigeria, I think he's better placed than many other people.
Right, you mentioned something earlier that I want for you to perhaps expatiate on, which is talking about the Southeast. Have they positioned themselves from what you are seeing within the region? Have they positioned themselves over time to perhaps take on this position of power that they are demanding that should be served to them a la carte, like you mentioned? Yeah,
it's too early to decide, because when you look at some of the utterances being made, you have a David Umahi coming out. When did David Umahi join APC? What influence, measure of influence does it have? But
he says 6 years speaks for him.
Yes, but speaks for him within which context? He has never been with APC. He was with PDP. People should not forget that. He just recently joined, you know, APC. And then what about the relationship with different party members? How far has it gone with that? In terms of being a credible challenger. You have Anoji Kalu, who is also a very formidable candidate from Southeast. But the problem with Oji is, Oji himself gave a conditional statement. It's if and then, you know, I'm not too sure. He has not made up his mind. There are so many other people, you know, thinking of coming out either through ABGA or one other party or the other. The bottom line at the end of the day is intention is not enough. You need to win the hearts and minds of the party followers. 6 years is not
enough for him to have developed such relationship.
I doubt it. Don't forget how APC emerged. Right. APC emerged from different political parties coming together. Yes. Yeah. So they already have a long-standing relationship. And there were a lot of negotiations which people like newcomers like Umahi were never part of. They know each other. He's just coming in, and obviously it's clear that he's coming in because he made it very clear that within the PDP he was not sure that he would get a fair chance for the presidential ticket. I don't think people build APC and then invite David Umahi from PDP and hand over to him. In my view, I don't think that is logical. And I don't think he has built enough relationship within the party itself to assure his candidacy. Note that there are still very many competent Southeasterners, within the APC who could challenge for power, but we have not seen many of them coming out currently. That's the problem.
Right. He mentioned something which I would like for you to react to, which is also the aspect of the zoning matter, which it has become a debate for a lot of persons, especially the constitutionality of it, and how some also want the power served to them a la carte, how some feel that, some regions feel that because of how we supported the North, especially for the emergence of the president, it should, naturally move over to them, serve them, pay them back for, what they did. But let's get your perspective on how that will come to play, the zoning at this elections.
Well, I think the truth is that zoning cannot be wished away, especially in this 2022 politicking. It can't be wished away. So no matter how the two main political parties want to go around it or dribble around it, it's going to hold them down till their time of primaries. Now look at APC, for example. There are different tendencies that came together to form APC. And there are internal agreements among those tendencies of power sharing. So even if we assume on some of the permutations out there in the political space that some people within APC, maybe a group of cabal, are tinkering with the idea of have another candidate, how successfully can they run with that? Considering their main and biggest backup in the South is Southwest. And at the vanguard of the power coming down to the South right now is the Southwest. The Southwest tendency within APC. Then, if we look at the option of they looking for someone in the South, maybe an ex-president, to run under the party, they are also going to run into trouble because the support from that region may not be sufficient enough for APC if Southwest dish them during the presidential election. So the same thing is going to play out in PDP as well. That those who have successfully put the chairmanship to the North right now and are probably looking forward to an open race for both the North and the South to compete for the tickets, they're still going to fight the resurgence of the Southern governors' demand. That demand is not going to die like that.
All right.
So when it comes to that time, in the next few weeks, you're going to see how it will play out. That is, Southern governors within PDP will still stand their ground for the ticket coming to the South.
All right, your final word quickly.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. We are in a very interesting situation. What we need now, it's a candidate who can unite the country and move the economy forward. And I think Tinubu is one of those better places to do that. Yeah.
All right. We'll leave the conversation there for now and see how the intrigues begin as the time goes on. Thank you so much, gentlemen, political analyst Biodun Showami for joining us, as well as public affairs analyst Daniel Akinlami for joining us. Thank you. All right.